And also, I guess I'll just start the TAP review because this is a simulcast. Have you?
Yeah. Are you ready? Words, phrases, sentences, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fastlane 2023. I am your Colonial champion, Sean McCarty, not messing this up. And this is Fastlane, where it might have been a fast lane, but I'm not sure just how many cars were in that lane because not a whole hell of a lot happened. But to join me to talk about 5 matches of speed, but they weren't even that fast. They were so slow. Well, welcome to Slow Turtle Lane, and to join me is King of the Turtles, the Bay Area Brawler, Skyler Greenberg. How you doing, buddy?
Happy National Tight End Day. Happy birthday, George Kittle, and happy birthday, Eddie Guerrero.
And that is all the exclamation we're going to get tonight, and at least today it was warranted. And to join me in the unwarranted section is the man of the Totally Awesome podcast himself, the man who edits hours and hours of content he knows nothing about because we force him to, and we will not unkey him from the ball and chain that we have attached him to in his room. JoshAgeddon, how are you doing today, sir?
I heard sturbation, and now we're talking about balls and chains. What is happening to this show? Because I like it.
What's happening to you?
I'm not aware, but whatever's happening, I like it.
Well, that's good, because we're going to have that hold up in court. But
anyway, I like it when it's forced.
Anyway, we're going to be... And you know what?
This is already off the rails.
I would argue that these shows never really start on the rails. And to be fair, we're here to review Payback 2. I mean Fastlane.
Basically, yeah.
So I would like to go around the room and just talk about what everybody thought about this B show, Payback 2. Let's start with Skyler.
Electric Boogaloo.
And that's it.
Can Fastlane go off the track? Like, honestly, was it so necessary? I wouldn't say this is a bad show, but like, there's a difference between Payback, which was a B show, but it had quality stuff that happened on it, and this one,
which is Payback 2, which was kind of like Payback, but not quite as good. You got some callbacks, but not quite as good. And that's about as much as I have to say about it. It was kind of ho-hum, which is what we expected, but I think just because of how on the mark they've been with pay-per-views this year, premium live event, with how on the mark they are with that. Recently, I kind of thought maybe this would be better than we thought. And then it just was there. And not a bad thing, it's just a thing. JoshAgeddon.
I think I like this pay-per-view more than both of you did. I thought, like, it was, again, Payback 2, but not quite as good. It was not as good as the original. There was some definite sequelitis going on. But I did enjoy the show. Like, for the most part, I thought it was solid. Not knock your knackers off, but it was still pretty good, in my opinion.
There was only one thing that really offended me on the show, and then the rest was just typical WWE formatting things.
Yeah.
You know, it's like kind of the usual what we get from these shows. It's just that the match quality wasn't so spectacular that we could overlook it as much.
Also, like, the placement of Fastlane, it not being the road to WrestleMania, it just being Fastlane, it just confuses me. Like, this is why I'm sad that NXT took the No Mercy name. Like, why couldn't this have been No Mercy? Why couldn't NXT take the Fastlane name?
Or if we're going to recycle pay-per-view names, can we go back to Halloween Havoc? Oh wait, they're never going to name it WCW pay-per-view again.
Well, NXT does Halloween Havoc. NXT's just stealing all the good shit.
And it's also in the beginning of October. I don't want to be that guy, but like,
yeah,
it is also the beginning of October.
Or they could have also called this Unforgiven.
They could have also just called me and paid me an exorbitant amount of money that I totally deserve for the rights for Harvest Havoc, and I would have given it to them.
Or Wrestle Festival.
Yeah.
Whichever one.
Whatever. We know you're taking from us. You might as well just be honest about it.
This is Spartanburg might take a little convincing and or threatening.
They're not going to South Carolina.
Well, they barely go to North Carolina.
Yeah. They went to South Carolina once.
Well, let's start out with a man who is not.
Wait! Hold on. Before we start with the show proper, can we just do one quick acknowledgement?
Is this a news acknowledgement?
No, it's not a news acknowledgement. It's just a acknowledgement.
Roll it.
Coming straight to you from the Golden Gate Garage, this is the Wrestle News with Skyler Greenberg.
Okay, news of the week, I guess. Listen, it's been a while since we've been on, like, the show proper. I wasn't even going to make this like a segment, but apparently Sean decided the segment, so whatever.
Wait! Roll it again!
Okay, Sean, thank you. But anyways, I just want to acknowledge the fact that on October 2nd, on Monday Night Raw, there was a match featuring the Intercontinental Champion Gunther defending against Tommaso Ciampa. WWE put that match on their YouTube the day after, the full match segments, which they almost never do, and which, Joshua, I assume you watched that match, correct?
Yes, I did.
How good was that match?
It was honestly better than anything on Fastlane. Except I really liked the opening tag match, so maybe I go back and forth between the opening tag match and the Gunther Ciampa match, but it was really high quality.
Wait, we kind of buried the lead here for a second. Skyler, let's backtrack that for a second. So they bumped the Intercontinental title match that was allegedly really, really good because I totally watched it and it was incredible. And the moves and the chops. Oh, how great were the chops and the final pinfall.
Sean, the thespian of the group, over here.
That finish was like.
Listen. You can admit that you don't watch Monday Night Raw. I don't.
Look, of all the finishes I've ever seen in a Gunther match, that certainly was one of them, and it was. It truly was a match to be watched by the public. Now completely on YouTube. But the fact that match, which I assume was terrific because I totally watched it, that got bumped and instead we got this 6-man tag?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, hold on. Can I explain?
Please do. I'm confused.
So, that Raw advertised a Becky Lynch Tegan Knox match for the women's title, and it had to be canceled because Becky was too injured defending it against Tiffany Stratton in what was also a damn really good match at NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch NXT. I will openly admit I do not watch NXT.
I do, and it was not as good as everyone said it was, but it was still pretty good.
The point being is that, like, the reason why they put Gunther and Tommaso Ciampa on Raw was to give the fans that were attending that night something, and also because they wanted to give it more time, because if it was going to be on Fastlane, it wasn't going to get the time that it got on Raw.
Which is ridiculous, because they only had 5 matches, and they all felt like they went forever.
I don't know if I agree with that for all of them.
I mean, it depends on the match that you're thinking about, but yeah, some of these, like, dragged on. The point being is that they decided to give the fans on Raw, they want to make Monday Night Raw more, like, must-see TV, also because they're trying to sell those rights.
Also, Gunther's segments have been doing very well on Raw, so they're trying to take full advantage of Gunther and the Intercontinental title being a ratings draw. So it's...
and you can tell that they really care about who he's facing, because look at his opponents of late. Chad Gable and Tommaso Ciampa, 2 known excellent workers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud. I'm honestly proud that the convergence of Gunther's arrival proper in WWE also converged with Triple H having more oompher in the office, so that it just made this run almost more magical than what Roman Reigns has done in a weird way. Maybe that's just because everyone's sick of Roman Reigns now because that match with Jey Uso jumped the shark, but they did something really special with Gunther, and I was so afraid they wouldn't, and we'd get another League of Nations with him. I'm so glad that's not the case.
Me too.
Well, the problem with Roman Reigns is that every single match he has is the same. I'm going to talk and emote, and I'm going to do live-action skit comedies or, like, drama reenactments.
And red undies. And Gunther has wrestling matches. That's right. Well, you know what Roman Reigns matches need?
Red underwear.
Jade Cargill?
They know they need a little more of YABOOOO. Which leads us...
Yeah, exactly. That's half of it, Skyler.
Darn it. Right there. Thank you, Skyler.
YABOOOO! They should just rename it the YABOOOO Tag Team titles.
I'll tell you what, JoshAgeddon. Finn Balor is growing on me for the gimmick that I have now found with him.
Well, I'm glad that it took something to get you to come around.
Something, but the hilarity of it, I can't unhear it. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. It's Cody Rhodes and Uso against Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the WWE United States Full Tag Team Champions, Unified, Standard, Pride, a whole bunch of words. They're still pennies, but they're silver. And they still have 4 belts for some reason.
They're nickels, Sean. How dare you?
Oh, yeah, because they're not worth a dime. and they don't draw a dime anymore. But that being said, even though this match was long and it had a second comeback, I think the crowd was the hottest in Indianapolis for this matchup, and I think it was my favorite as well.
Yeah, I love this match. There was one spot in particular where I thought Cody legit hurt himself, and it kind of made me worried. But other than that, I thought this was great.
This started good, and then halfway, I hated the match.
Wow.
Well, is it because of the participants, or is it because it's WWE formulaic?
It's because they had the goddamn WWE #bad formatting.
Yeah, that was kind of my big issue on the whole night. But this is what I wrote. This is what I wrote before I saw anything in this match.
YABOOOO, we know.
No, that was later. I have a joke for that later.
Oh no.
This will be full of shenanigans, and that will sour what would otherwise be a good match. Skyler, would that basically sum up your opinion of this matchup?
Yeah. I'm tired of when the Bloodline do it, and now I'm tired of when the Judgment Day do it.
It's because that's the same bit. It's the same bit. It's just different participants. Sadly, but I have to say the phrase "it's just me" is kind of a silly catchphrase. It's just when Jay comes out, because I thought, like, who gives a shit? It's just Jay. Who cares? It's just me. Hooray!
Can I get into the big reason why I loved this match and the shenanigans at the end did not bother me at all?
Because it's just Jay?
No.
Because you want to lick Finn Balor's abs?
Yes, but no. I've been watching that Jizz Napkin indie fed that you both love so much. Their tag matches drive me nuts. Like, Wrestle Dream a couple weeks ago, I thought it was a very good show, but I hated 2 of the 3 tag team matches that were on that show. Because it's nothing but moves, no rules. Aubrey Edwards is female Rick Knox, and I just hate it. This match was so refreshing. I'm getting to the point where I love WWE tag team matches because there was the moves picked up towards the end. It wasn't just moves for the entire duration. They were conservative with how they handled doing moves, and also they sold a lot. And there were rules in this match. So going from an AEW tag team match to this was so nice. It was so refreshing. I want. This is what tag team wrestling should be, regardless of how you feel about the shenanigans at the end. I was just happy.
The fact that none of these guys are actually a tag team properly full time.
The fact that this was a decent tag team match where it wasn't 100 million bodies flying everywhere until the end, that made me so happy that I didn't even care. I just hate AEW tag team matches so much right now.
Well, we don't talk about that company, so.
Yeah, fun little fact. I always did. But these, look, it's, the problem is, when it comes to tag matches, they do too much. That is my only, like, not like moves too much, it's just like, they have to make sure everybody gets time, and everybody gets a comeback, and everybody has to go 20 minutes, and they kind of ruin their own momentum a lot of the time, because they getting 2 waves of heat just doesn't do it for me. I'm still a one comeback guy, and, listen, it's not even just because in my 30s I'm starting to lose my stamina. It's not even it. It's just that for me,
Wow.
I don't know. It's weird having it go up and down like that, because it just kind of stagnates, and the second comeback doesn't have as much juice most of the time. But did you notice there weren't any in-ring intros for this matchup?
I did. And that made me happy because I didn't have to listen to Samantha Irving, who I'm increasingly despising with each and every passing day.
Apparently she had the night off because
Good.
It was whichever Rome this guy is. Mike Rome? Is that his name?
Mike Rome,
who is just skinnier Hamwich. And so I guess, like, Spamwich? I don't know what Diet Ham would be. Yeah, I guess Spamwich, that works. Jim Spanwich Rome, or Mike Spanwich Rome. There we go, I like that. Anyway.
Mike the Spam Rome.
Yeah. And in any case, it was just weird because then they did it for like all of the other matches, and I'm like, why not here? It's a title match. It's the opening match. Why you don't do this?
Perhaps because it was the opener. I don't have a really good answer other than that.
But we did get a Bullet Club reference and a collar and elbow tie-up.
Yes, we did. And
Good and a what?
And Corey was like, "You get those Twitter points," and I was like, "It's not Twitter anymore. It's X."
Yeah, as in we should X this from our brains because it's gone on for too long.
Yeah.
I think it's better.
Also, what the fuck was Corey Graves wearing tonight?
What is he wearing any night?
Like, it was...
Whatever Carmella picked out for him.
He was wearing a Neapolitan suit.
Like, did he go into Seth Rollins' closet?
Probably.
No, he came out.
Oh, he should.
Oh, that was a good response.
Well, speaking of things that are canned, the Uso chant was not from the people.
Yeah.
Everyone was sitting down, and I heard, ooh, so, and there were no mouths moving. I'm like, something is not right here. And then, Cody, listen, I know you wanted to eat your wife's placenta. Right? I understand this.
Jeez.
But for the love of God, man, that backslap tag hurt. Probably worse than her childbirth.
Every time he backslap tagged, I could just feel Sean throwing things from Connecticut.
It was the first one. It was the first one where he went all the way up and over the ropes and, like, almost wound up. That one was just, it's like he slapped me in the face. I was like, that was offensive. But then, here comes YABOOOO McDaniel, the long-lost Irish bastard son of Wahoo McDaniel.
That would be funnier.
He's in 80s.
That would be funnier if I knew who that was.
It's sad that you don't. But Wahoo McDaniel, God bless you. You're dead, but God bless you.
How can you bless a dead man?
I just did. Now, you know what? Why don't we go back and repeat that exact audio? Editor, just put that audio right back in. Do it again for all the people at home. Wahoo McDaniel, God bless you. You're dead, but God bless you.
My payload is increasing.
We get the...
We'll get you Pizza Hut, no problem.
I already work there, and we're getting that later in the show.
And you are responsible for what happened.
No, I'm not. I'm a driver. I'm not a manager.
Editor, go drive to Pizza Hut and buy your wife a pizza.
I'm not married.
I mean, you basically are.
I'm not... This is deteriorating.
This is kind of like Backlash 2009. Where is the great Khali with the Pizza Hut outfit when you need him?
Skyler, put on a dress and say you want to kiss me.
No.
That's
Give me the cobra.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. If you join our Patreon, you can see that on live in our Patreon. Skyler dressed up, going to Pizza Hut to go up JoshAgeddon.
Santina Greenberg.
So, did you notice that stall to the inverted suplex that Cody did reminded me a hell of a lot of SmackDown vs. Raw 2007?
Yeah.
I'm like, I've seen that move before. Cody Rhodes watches CIW confirmed? Question mark?
Cody Impact Wrestling.
Remember that Cody Rhodes is a video gamer, so I'm sure he played the WWE games all too much.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Cody, hit me up. I'll put you in. Anyway, we got a scissors kick from YABOOOO McDaniel.
Yeah, that blew my mind. I was like, did he just do a scissors kick? When? Why?
I wasn't even mad. That's amazing.
YABOOOO, Curty!
Yeah, that was that was pretty good, actually. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I love this gimmick. You know what? It's been so long. I'm not knocking you anymore. To be fair, this joke has actually made him somewhat entertaining to watch. Because I need to hear just how many YABOOs he hits now.
I also am in the Skyler camp of I can no longer unhear it.
Because he does it constantly.
Yes, he does.
Over and over and over again.
For every move.
Yeah.
And it's so unintentional. And here's the thing: if you go back to any Finn Balor match, he always did this.
Yeah.
So I don't know why all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, he does the YABOOOO?
Because I actually started watching his matches and started analyzing, going, I know that. And it's also because the rings are so mic'd up now.
Yeah.
It's like, but at least to Jericho's credit, he would have different sounds for different moves.
Yes.
All we get is straight up YABOOOO. All day, every day.
We need a YABOOOO counter.
And then, I felt so bad for him because he did that basement drop kick, and they replayed it, and you could see both of his hands coming to slap his thighs in slow motion. I'm like,
It looked good until they showed the replay. Like, it looked devastating. And then they showed a replay. Thanks, Kevin Dunn.
Kevin Dunn especially was terrible tonight. All the different, zoom in and zoom out. All the bullshit camera angles.
Yeah.
In defense of Kevin Dunn, he knows it's a C show. He knows it's a B show. He can just dick around. This isn't Survivor Series. He's like,
is Survivor Series an A show at this point?
He's probably having his intern do it. He's like, go ahead and hit those buttons over there. Whatever. Just you want to do it? Go ahead. Who cares? Look, we got 2.5 hours before Seth the Nakamura shows up. I'll let y'all handle it. By the way, we should all be prepared for the day eventually that Kevin Dunn gets put into the WWE Hall of Fame.
It would be perfect if, while he's trying to give his speech, they keep cutting to different camera angles constantly, just to fuck with him. Just a little bit of revenge.
I'd love to see a run-in from Isaac Yankem DDS.
Yes! With
May not be the person who'd be inducting him.
Yeah, Isaac Yankem comes in with the teeth that he had removed and puts them back into his face.
I'll tell you what, I will completely take back everything I've ever said about Kevin Dunn if they just make a teeth joke when he goes into the Hall of Fame, that will be enough for me. If they just own it, I'm cool with it. Anyway, then I had an issue. Then Mies had an issue. So they do this good thing with getting heat, I think, on Jay, where they were doing the distraction with the referee, and then Cody's trying to get in, and the referee goes, "Oh no, you no do," and you say you can't go in, and then they pull Jay over and they do the double team, and they tag, and Finn comes in and Priest comes out, but the referee is still busy with Cody.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly where you're going with this.
All I wanted more out of this was a louder clap, like Damian Priest to go clap.
Yep.
Just so the referee would then audibly hear, oh, they tagged, so then it isn't weird that the other person is in the ring.
Well, maybe Finn should stop screaming YABOOOO every time he does anything, because the YABOOOO probably eclipsed the sound of the tag.
We should go back and see if he did it. YABOOOO.
This is the new Chris Jericho is so fat.
This is the greatest. This is the
new Chris Jericho. Ask him.
Yes. YABOOOO! YABOOOO!
Oh man, you know what, Finn Balor? It took 10 years of you being here basically in WWE, but you have finally gotten over with me. Because we are assholes.
Yeah. We are booties.
Yeah. But I
booty. Booty.
Yeah, booty.
Well, speaking of things connected to your booty, I liked the dragon screw on the leg when Cody did his comeback for comeback number 1. I must admit, I hate to say this because I love me some Shane Helms. Finn Balor's Eye of the Hurricane is better than Shane Helms is.
That's one of the best moves he does, honestly.
It's one of the best moves he does. It actually looks like he's dropping his elbow into the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I give him credit for that. I guess Big Show did that first, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
With the final cut.
Yeah, and it murdered people because, he's the Big Show. But then he stopped doing it so he could stop murdering people.
So he could dress up and be Hulk Shogun. And, poor guy. Well, he's not here. Anyway.
Whatever happened to that guy?
He went Captain Insano, I think.
He did.
He's got some asylum somewhere.
I heard he was fishing?
But then, I think I know the spot you were saying, JoshAgeddon, about Cody getting hurt. It was that awkward superplex.
No, he...
That they landed very weirdly. The way
it wasn't just a superplex. He did the standing stall superplex.
The standing stalling superplex I liked. He did a Cody Cutter, not the one that was the 1D Cody Cutter, which I loved. He did a regular Cody Cutter, and it looked like he almost spiked himself. And it just looked bad.
He did the suplex, he hit his head, and then when he did the Cody Cutter, he did it again.
Yeah, and I'm just like, damn, Cody, please don't concuss yourself.
Yeah, and then they both got high as hell and went to a press conference, but that's a different story.
No, they got drunk.
I think they might have had a little bit of both, to tell you the truth.
Guess it's not Crossroads, it's Cross-Faded.
That's right.
So WWE put that press conference up. I highly encourage you to go watch it.
It's pretty funny.
Like, I would watch all the press conference, every single interview, because they're all natural when they're doing those press conferences. It's all like actual people that are still wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what? I would tell you this too. I think it'd be a hell of a lot more entertaining if both federations said, you know what? Why don't you guys just have a few? Have like 5 or 6 shots, and then just go out there and say whatever the hell you want.
We'll talk to the sponsors later.
And I will kick you under the table if you're going too far. Cool? Cool.
If you go Ric Flair mode, we'll have to reel you back in.
Yeah. I will. Well, we already know one boss will not do that.
Yeah. He'll be like, please don't be mad at me. We're still friends, right?
I'm so
Thanks, guys.
My life. Anyway.
CM Punk tried to kill me.
All right, I now have a Lord of the Rings reference, so if this fails all of you, well, go watch it. Gentlemen, we do not stop this match until there's a pin. What about a comeback? You've already had it. We've had one, yes. What about second comeback?
Okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Comeback.
I got that one.
Nobody cared for the second comeback. I mean, they cared in the beginning of it, but then you could tell the crowd was starting to get tired. Like, okay, we've already seen a comeback, and Jay's comeback was not as cool as Cody's.
Jay's not as over as Cody is.
Well, here's the thing. They would have reacted if Jay was the only one getting the comeback.
True.
But the fact that they already rose up for Cody, and then that got shut down, it's like it's hard to get that same rallying cry for the next guy.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
the crowd's not going to do jumping jacks like, oh, now we're doing the comeback. Oh, now we're doing the comeback. The crowd is going to be glued to their seats after they rise a couple times.
Well, and then there was the other part of that is, too, is like, even in the first comeback, Jay had basically knocked out both members of the Judgment Day before he even got to Cody's corner. There was no threat or danger. You know, it wasn't like Finn Balor was dragging himself to Damien's corner. He tagged Damien, and Damien is charging towards Jay, and then he jumps up and gets Cody, and Damian Priest is like, oh, snap, I'm going to feed for Cody for a little bit. No, Jay made his own comeback, then tagged Cody, and he still got a cheer, but even that one wasn't what it could have been. And then we get the second comeback, and Cody just disappears for a solid 2.5 minutes. Was that after it was Cody nearly broke his neck, head, face?
Yeah, I think that's where he rolled out for a little bit.
And then 32 minutes into the program, here come the shenanigans.
Honestly, yeah, they do this a lot, but the execution of it was basically everyone was in the right position for everything. So the fact that everything went the way it did so well, it didn't bother me like at all. Like, yeah, they do this a lot, and it's kind of annoying that they do this all the time. It's very formulaic. I just like the way they did it made it passable for me.
Here's my problem with it. You could do it with one heel stable. You can't do it with two.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
It was one thing when it was just the Bloodline, but now it's the Bloodline and Judgment Day, and they're both doing the same type of interference. Like,
yeah. Well,
it also doesn't help that, again, I'm watching all this interference. I'm like, okay, when is Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio coming out? When is JD McDonough going to get involved? When is the briefcase shots? It's all paint by the numbers at this point.
Well, and that's my biggest problem with these group heels. And that's why they need some definitive, like, singles heels. Because they really, and I think the main event demonstrated this, they really don't have many singles heels that are worth their own salt in their, in their own way. And this really was evident here as well, because I think that this is kind of where, once the shenanigans showed up, I kind of knew where everything was headed, except who won it. I was surprised that they actually had Jay and Cody win it. But
Me too. I thought that the briefcase shot to Jay was it.
Yeah, but this is kind of the thing. But here's where I knew. First of all, Corey Graves called Rhea a succubus.
That made me laugh so hard.
Because, man, I'd suck that bus all day. Anyway,
She can rip my tide any day.
what, are you going to yaboo me?
He wants Rhea to slap him on the booty.
Yeah.
You mean you want to slap her on the booty?
He wants to touch the booby. This is never gonna die.
This is a bunch of yabooey.
So they have the Mexican standoff, and then they get into the hockey.
That irritated me. Although the hockey fight didn't bother me as much because Cody didn't really do the hockey fight. He did more body shots. It was
He did the hockey fight.
It was the Mexican standoff that bothered me, because every tag, like, I swear to God, all 3 of the tag matches that I was talking about earlier with Wrestle Dream, they all did it. This match did it. I'm like, why is this the fad with tag team matches now, doing the Mexican standoff?
Because it gets a pop.
Not if you do it every single match.
Not as much as it used to. Not as much as it used to. But the fans were into this. Indianapolis was not into anything more, except maybe one of the other tag matches coming up in a little bit, than this. But did you notice that Jay got 0 elevation on that super kick? He did a super kick, and it maybe went to, like, his upper thigh.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Well, we just not trying tonight, huh?
It's Fastlane. What do you want?
But then they had their Super 1D or 1CRD CPR. They win. Boo Velcro. YABOOOO Velcro. But here's the thing was, I was happy that they won, but at the end of the day, it was just formulaic. And the thing that WWE format lacks the most is true spontaneity. And that, I think, was my major problem with it. But by all accounts, a good WWE tag match that went the way that WWE tag matches do and got a result that was not what I was expecting.
I like we said, this was my favorite thing on the show, and it sets up some interesting possibilities. You know that Roman Reigns is going to bring up, a little skipping ahead a teeny bit, that Jimmy, you lost, and Jay, he's no longer in our group, and he went and won a championship. That's going to make us look bad. And also, Jay has won tag team titles with someone other than Jimmy. So, although at the same time, who would have thought that Cody coming back and then making a big deal out of it? Hey, the first championship he's going to win in his new run in WWE is the tag team titles.
Tag belts. Yes, that irony was not lost on me.
Imagine being told that like a year or so ago, how deflated you were like, what?
And people
The only question is, does that finish the story?
Will he?
I-
In any case, let's talk about something else that showed up before we get to this next match. We were talking about how I don't watch NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you something. They are trying to get people to tune in because the concept of Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker together was fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I may need to actually watch this thing. John Cena being there, okay, whatever. But Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker, that was a stunner. And then the Taker going at the end, which I did not miss either. They are trying to get eyeballs on that product and beat some other federation in the ratings, which they are, by the way.
Deservedly so.
They also have Roxanne Perez wrestling Asuka, Cody Rhodes making an appearance, the Brawling Brutes being there, Becky Lynch obviously being the NXT Women's Champion. They're trying something with NXT.
Well, it's also because they're shipping NXT as a package deal with Raw, I believe, as far as marketability is concerned for whatever network is going to pick it up. Please don't be Disney Plus or Amazon.
I mean, if it's Disney Plus, you can always borrow my account.
That will not soften the blow. I'm still traumatized from Star Wars. So, I mean,
How can you be traumatized from Star Wars?
Not like they would really ruin WWE much further. Like, well, how are they going to Disneyfy WWE more?
Somehow, Palpatine returned.
No, but somehow Vince returned.
Shows up on Raw.
Palpatine shows up on Raw!
McCarty shows up on Monday Night Raw and looks face to face with The Undertaker. As the Emperor, I will be 100% in on this deal.
Yes, absolutely. Me too. Refereed by Mickey Mouse.
Yes. I would not accept any Pizza Hut from Booker T, Wade Barrett, or Xavier Woods.
This is the part of the show where Sean and Skyler start yelling at me.
Yeah, I did, because it's your fault, Mr. Pizza Hut.
You know what the worst part is that before this, Pizza Hut was actually my favorite pizza company.
Yeah, in 2002 when it was good, it was when Pizza Hut was my favorite company. Not let's smecker the crowd with fake pieces of pizza with the Street Profits, who are always involved in Pizza Hut. Can we just get them back working there where they were before they decided to become wrestlers?
Real
and
quick.
Just leave them there and just keep them in Pizza Hut. That'd be great.
Real quick, as the guy that works at Pizza Hut of the crew, Papa John's and Domino's are better.
But
I'll give you Domino's. I do not fucking care about Papa John's.
But no pizza is worse than Pizza Inn. Pizza Inn is the worst. It's just a piece of paper with a little bit of sauce on top of it.
Round Table says hi.
Sup, round table, squares, shapes, and all shapes and sizes.
Well,
YABOOOO.
you know what's cool? Yeah, that's right. It's a YABOOOO Pizzeria. You know what, Finn? That should be your post-WWE career. Making YABOOOO pizzas. I don't know what they look like.
Finn Balor's favorite Dragon Ball Z character is Majin YABOOOO.
The pizza would come out and the pepperoni spells YABOOOO.
Starts drawing the word...
Just a ghost this Halloween.
Yeah, just starts drawing the word YABOOOO with the pizza sauce.
Right. Well, this next match was something that made JoshAgeddon YABOOOO because it has people that he doesn't like in it. It is the
Christ almighty.
LWO of Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and Carlito, but they didn't want us to know it was Carlito, but we all knew it was Carlito, so just have him come out at the beginning of the goddamn match.
Mm-hmm.
2/3 of the way through, stupid Kevin Dunn.
Okay.
This is my Randy Orton to Kofi moment. This is...
Sean and Skyler, you go ahead and give your opinions on this match because I'm going to go on a tirade. So just...
Right, well, it's the LWO versus the Diet Beatdown Clan. Or the band name that they came up with, Bobby Lashley and the Condiments. So,
You mean the broke business, right?
yeah. Skyler, why the 3-card Monties? I don't have a rest of the joke for that, but that's about as good as they were. Why don't you tell us how you feel?
I feel nothing. Like this shit sucks.
Bobby Lashley and the excrements.
I mean, the problem that Bobby Lashley has not been important at all in WWE for the last year or two. And the fact that he's paired with the shit profits just ruins everything.
I'm sorry. How dumb do you feel? I feel nothing. It was just so passively hysterical. Oh, man.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. Whatever you said, I agree with all of it.
Like, can we just admit that the Hurt Business is never coming back, and even when it is, it sucks?
Yeah, it's I'm not surprised that MVP got a way to get out of there before it really started to tank. I didn't really. Bobby looks good. He's just being wasted with these two schlubs.
How can Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins have wrestled for this long and still be that bad at wrestling?
Well, they just brought back Nia Jax, so what's the bar? Because it's not Cesaro anymore because Cesaro has completely just died. No one knows where he is. He just went sailing one day and disappeared into the Pacific Ocean. And Sheamus is out there on a boat trying to look for him.
And his two dipshit buddies keep steering the ship the wrong way.
Yeah. But they did a plug for the 49ers trying to keep Skyler's attention, and boy,
I booed.
The 49ers deliver. And stay tuned.
You're welcome.
Stay tuned for the quick thoughts on Super Jam session, courtesy of Skyler Greenberg. Week thoughts. And we're going to get to that. We'll have a link in the description. But the reveal mid-match is just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Shane had a very bad kick that didn't go anywhere near anybody. I can't get into either of them, but they're better in a more aggressive way, but they need music that isn't their babyface music. I would have popped for Carlito if he had showed up at the start. This was Lesnar and Money in the Bank, but baby faces. And then they did more Pizza Hut. And I had the Sour Belches. And I
wish they could have done Bobby Lashley versus Rey Mysterio for the United States Championship.
They had a match on SmackDown, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, I would have been fine with that. But I did not ever think that I would have been happy to see Jade Cargill. But I was just so ready for this to be over that I would have been happy if they had brought out a literal plate, the plate that Big Boss Man handed to Al Snow, which was supposed to be his cooked dog. If they had showed that on the screen next, I would have been like, yes, that, which is not Pizza Hut.
I would have rather like eaten the dog outside my house. I would have rather cooked that dog and eaten it than watch this match. This sucked. Everything about this sucked, except Bobby Lashley and Rey Mysterio, because they're just doing their jobs. They were fine in the match. Everything else about this sucked. Montez Ford cannot stop being goofy, babyface or heel, and it is impossible to take him serious. He's like constantly like on cocaine or something, and I'm just like, I want to scream at the TV, shut up, stop talking, stop emoting. He's like Kenny Omega at his goofiest times 10, except Kenny Omega can be serious every once in a while. He's like an even worse Kenny Omega. And it's awful. I hate it. Angelo Dawkins is so boring, and he's never going to do anything in wrestling. Santos Escobar. I wish he would get injured and never wrestle again. I hate watching this dude do anything. He can't sell. The moves he does a cool top rope Hurricane Rana that we already saw in the previous match. So it was a repeated spot. Thanks, guys.
Which wasn't that good in the previous match either.
It looked better, I'll give him that, but his selling is so bad.
Quote-unquote selling.
His complete and total shitty excuse for selling, his embarrassing excuse for selling, is so bad. He has the posture of a statue doing anything. Whenever he does the running knee in the corner, goes, LWO! I hate it. And then, the worst part of the match, like, it's a 2-on-3 handicap for most of it, and I'm like, I thought they were going to have a third person. And I was like, they're not going to bring out Carlito and hit his music, and he's randomly a part of the match now. Not only is that exactly what they did, they had Carlito come in. And it would have been a huge pop because Carlito's awesome, but the pop was diluted because he came out to really shitty, generic Caribbean music that no one recognized.
Yeah, what the hell was that?
It was fucking garbage. He's known for
spitting in the face anymore, which you didn't even need to add.
Spit in the face to whoever thought this was a good idea. And no one knew who the hell he was until they all looked at the screen and saw the word Carlito. Then they had a okay pop, and then he comes in, and then he starts wrestling, which he was attacking people that are already in a match. That should have been a disqualification. He was not a part of this match. And then he won with the backstabber.
JoshAgeddon, there were supposed to be 3 members of the team, and they just said, it's a mystery partner who may or may not show up. It looks like these two, but we're just going to leave that ambiguously vague so that we can shoehorn in, oh yeah!
I hated this so much.
Which is why we had his music queued up for exactly when mid-match he was coming in.
This was so dumb. Why couldn't they have just made this a 6... Well, actually, to make it a 2-on-1 handicap, just plus Carlito, the whole match, minus Santos, and have him go work at the Jizz Napkin Indie Fed, which I wish he would go to, because he fucking sucks. This was awful. This was so bad. I hated it. There's a laundry list of reasons as to why I hate this that keeps growing by the second. One good thing I will say, Zelina Vega remembered her place, that she's not a wrestler, she's a valet. That was the one good thing.
You just hating on the women now?
Yes! If they're involved with this, yes!
Well, trust me, y'all are going to get a chance to talk about the women at length very soon.
This was by far the worst thing on the show. This made my blood pressure boil.
No, nothing was as bad as this. And I mean, even by WWE standards, it wasn't even the worst thing they've ever done.
It was so,
by no means.
It was so imbecilic, the booking of this match.
But yeah, it wasn't great. I would have really enjoyed even a shorter Gunther and Tommaso Ciampa match over this.
Yeah, me too. Or at the very least, have Rey Mysterio and a mystery partner, Carlito, versus Bobby Lashley and some other black dude that can wrestle.
Or better yet, just have Bobby Lashley versus Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. The Street Profits get involved. Santos tries to help, and then it's too much. Carlito comes to save the day. Rey beats Bobby and keeps the title.
Something better than this.
Yeah, this was a waste of Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
At its finest. I love Bobby Lashley.
And a waste of Rey Mysterio, too.
Yeah, and a waste of Carlito.
Yeah. Well, let's see if Carlito's actually going to stay for longer this time.
I've heard he's going to be around for like maybe 2 months.
All right, well, that's not nothing.
It's about as long as he usually stays.
Well, he's going to stick around longer than I am for this women's match. It's Asuka versus Io Sky versus Charlotte Plasticati for the Women's Championship. I forget which one. The WWE Women's Championship, I guess.
That should be the name of the belt.
What, the WWE Women's Championship, I guess?
Yeah, that should be the name of the belt.
Yeah. Well, all I wrote was no. So, why don't you guys regale me of the wonderful stories of how these three women told an incredible story of white woman beats up Asians.
I mean, that's not what happened, but...
This match was inverted Pearl Harbor.
WWE, you know how to tell a story.
Yeah. But...
One white woman beats up two Japanese women.
Okay, I have very mixed thoughts on this match. I actually liked the first half, but the longer this went, the sloppier it got. The sloppier it got. But the finish was... The implications of the finish I hated, but the actual finish I thought was fine. This was a very just match. Good start. I really liked the first couple minutes because the match started and Asuka immediately misted Charlotte in the face, so Charlotte was out. And I know we always complain about triple threats are just... They wrestle for a little bit, then one person's out of the ring doing nothing, and the other two people are wrestling, and then they just rotate. This was a good reason to have Charlotte out of the match for a little bit, because she was blind and she couldn't see. I liked that. Then they just got into the standard triple threat match, and then everyone on Earth started missing moonsaults. Charlotte actually did not have the worst moonsault of the match, and that is sad. Io Sky tried to do a springboard aside moonsault to the outside on Asuka. Problem was Asuka was out of position, and maybe a speck of Io's elbow caught a speck of Asuka's shoulder. And then Charlotte did her moonsault, and it looked a teeny bit better. I'm beginning to say, people just stop doing moonsaults. Just all of you. Please stop.
What's wrong with a good crossbody?
Yeah, exactly. Just because it's intricate, just because it's intricate, that doesn't mean it's more good.
I agree with all of these things you said.
Your thoughts, Skyler?
I was about to say stop doing moonsaults altogether before you took the words out of my mouth.
I mean, if you're gonna do them so shit, stop doing them.
Well, that's the thing, is that, like, Cody Rhodes for a while was doing moonsaults, and then he said, that's so stupid.
I mean, his moonsaults were decent.
Yeah, I mean, so rounded pages for a time.
Who?
Exactly. And, I don't know, it's just...
Look, let's go back to this match for a second, because, like, I understand that at this point, there's no getting away from the wax face of Charlotte.
It's in my nightmares.
It changes every month.
Yes. All I have to say to that is yes. I don't know how I feel about Io Sky at this point. Like, Joshua, is she supposed to be a babyface or a heel?
They keep starting and stopping the split from Bayley, and when they do the split from Bayley, she'll be a babyface. But because they keep stopping and starting the breakup between the two, she's perpetually kind of in the middle, both, with no real direction. She's suffering of a lack of them actually pulling the trigger.
Right, and Asuka's just there. Like,
Asuka was...
just
I'll say this. Charlotte was not the worst person in this match. Asuka was so bad. Sean, she tried to do a diving code breaker.
Oh, I could already visualize.
It was so shit. It was, and Charlotte had to sell it, and she completely whiffed it. Oh god, the longer this went, the sloppier it got. I will never, ever criticize a Chris Jericho codebreaker ever again after the atrocity that I saw on this night.
Well, I'm really surprised when it comes to Asuka.
I'm starting it right now. That's it? That long? Yeah.
I'm really not surprised when it comes to Asuka. I mean, well, we had some hope with it, at least at first. When she came back in the Kana gimmick and she looked good at the Rumble.
Yeah.
And then they started pushing her again, and we all remembered why we didn't care for her in the first place.
She's had a few moments of, oh, that was cool. And then we're like, oh, wait, it's Asuka. But again, this wasn't terrible. It's just there were a few terrible moments. And it would have been better served if, like, Io just faced, like... If it was Io versus Bayley and they had already done the split, this would have been better. And the finish... The finish was fine because, like, Charlotte has Asuka in the figure 8, and Asuka taps, but Bayley has the referee. So Io does the moonsault on and Io's moonsault to where she lands on the... No more standing moonsaults. If you do a moonsault on someone and they're, like, laying flat on the mat, fine, because Io's still looks good. This one looked devastating because Charlotte was still arching, and Io landed on the still arching Charlotte. I don't know how that didn't destroy Charlotte's ribs.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm surprised that didn't shatter the knees of both women.
And
holy hell.
It looked cool.
Joshua, tell me right now, what's the problem with that finish?
Charlotte made Asuka tap, and if the referee was paying attention, she would have won, so that means that this feud must continue. And Charlotte's probably gonna take the belt from Io.
Yes, but what else?
More interference?
They stole this finish from SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So
they stole this finish from this is not... They mentioned, actually, that Io won the NXT Women's title in a triple threat match against Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. This was the finish of that very match.
And that is also the other issue, is they keep stealing their finishes from other shows because they get pops for them.
Yeah.
WWE has some of the laziest booking I've ever seen. Like... Yeah. Can you guys be... I mean, it's hard to be creative with your finishes after you've been in business for so long, but still.
But particularly with the women.
They don't give a shit about anything the women do, and it's so obvious.
Yeah, it's like they don't...
Well, they don't give a shit about anything the women do except Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, and how many matches has she been in?
Not very many, since Nia Jax tried to flatten her.
No, she successfully flattened her.
Yeah.
There was no trying in the entire thing. That's kind of the problem.
But yeah, this wasn't bad, but I absolutely would not, like, oh, you have to go see this. It was fine.
It's another women's triple threat match. Which if you've ever seen one women's triple threat match, you've seen all of them. I'm tired of the triple threats. Can we get to some one-on-one matches? Like the one that happened at Payback with Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Yes, there was the Dominic Mysterio interference again, but at least that was a one-on-one match.
And that match wasn't that great either, but point taken.
But at least it was only one-on-one. I'm tired of seeing triple threats, because now every pay-per-view has triple threats. Triple threats.
They're making you so mad that you're developing Tourette's.
Yeah, I know.
And your Tourette's are going to make you say, YABOOOO! YABOOOO!
And actually, we are incorrect, because not only do they care about Rhea Ripley, they also care about Jade Cargill, who they made sure to feature a lot.
Yeah, I'm morbidly curious what they're gonna have her do.
If they put her with Nia Jax, I'm going to die of laughter. I will laugh until my lungs implode.
They're not that stupid. I promise you.
You say this. This is also the company that didn't give Cody the belt a couple months ago when they should have.
This is also the company that is reportedly trying to see if they can do Uncle Howdy as a tribute to Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, and have.
So again, John, your point is not proven.
Well,
your point is on shaky ground.
My point is that no matter what they do, a lot of the time they're really keen on not having two people who don't know how to do shit in the ring at the same time together on their own.
That is true. That is true.
And that is why I do not think they will be dumb enough to book Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill until they are confident that one of them is capable of keeping the match in check.
And that won't be Nia.
And it will probably not be Nia, and I don't know if Jade Cargill is that interested in it. You know.
So that's the thing, is that, like, are we getting to the point where, like, there's never going to be a match between Jade Cargill and Nia Jax until Jade Cargill is a good wrestler?
That's kind of my point, which means it's not going to happen.
So then what? We punish her by you're a good wrestler now. Here's your punishment. Go wrestle Nia.
No.
I mean, that's what they've been doing with Nia Jackson's entire career.
Nope, he's going to win the tag belt with Tamina. And then Tamina's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, to be fair, the second match that Ronda Rousey ever had was against Nia Jax, so...
Don't remind me.
Not afraid to put bad women against bad women.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, but everybody at that point thought Ronda was decent.
Her...
But she was decent.
And then she quickly became indecent. And there was a lot of exposure. For example, SummerSlam a couple months ago.
But you want to know what's not exposed?
What?
The love that Pat McAfee has for Indianapolis.
Well, good on Pathias for McAfee his way there. And he's quite good on the microphone.
Except for when he called Michael Cole the greatest of all time, made me want to projectile vomit.
Well, yeah, he's got to say that, and he believes it, I'm sure.
Man, the usage of the phrase greatest of all time really has diminished in quality this year, hasn't it?
Well, here comes...
Well, the other thing, too, though, is that this is the same thing that they did with John Cena at Money in the Bank, which is try to say, hey, Indy, you want a WrestleMania? Pay us.
Yeah, and then it said, well, here's LA Knight and John Cena. And
I will say this, having Pat McAfee on commentary for the rest of the show made the show a little bit better.
Agreed.
Definitely. And I think if Corey Graves ever does actually get healthy enough to come back, I wouldn't mind seeing a Corey Graves versus Pat McAfee match. I wouldn't hate it. I don't know who would lead it, but I wouldn't hate it.
I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I'd be irrevocably indifferent.
Yeah, it's but in any case, speaking of indifferent, Paul seems to now have abandoned his hair.
I think his hair is abandoning him.
Because this matchup is LA Knight and John Cena versus Bloodlight. And
yeah,
which is Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. And Bloodlight Dilly Dilly. And we get a colored up tie-up.
We were 2 for 5 on the night.
So, what did y'all think about this match? Let's start with Josh again.
This was probably my second favorite match on the show. I thought it was good, but not as good as the opener.
Okay. You guys are about to be surprised by this take. Joshua, you especially, I want you to be sitting down, okay?
I am.
I did not like John Cena in this match.
Wow. Everything I know is a lie.
Explain yourself. What didn't you like about him?
His bald spot.
Yes.
Yeah, boo boo boo. Yeah, boo boo boo.
It doesn't help that John Cena is so old now that, like, he could get away with some of the over-the-top expression and over-the-top wrestling moves when he was more in physical shape and he looked like a star. He looks like my dad now. Like, yes, he's still in physical good shape.
He is your dad now.
I mean, yeah, but, like, the
what are you, Fred?
Oh, I love you,
John
man.
Cena aged more than Paul Heyman, which is saying something.
Yeah. Well, Paul went from looking like he was in his late 50s to looking like he was in his mid 80s.
I think, well, he's Jewish, so he probably went up to Mount Sinai and saw God, came back down, and now he looks so old.
He had to part that Red Sea so far so he could waddle his way through it, man. Anyway.
Well, Skyler, I'm gonna surprise you. I wouldn't say I liked John Cena in this match. He didn't offend me at all in this match.
Well, here's the thing, though. John Cena talks too loudly.
He does.
And he talks too obviously.
True.
Always have.
Yeah.
But now it's like, before he was able to get away with it because he was in good shape and he looked good, and also because the crowds were louder, so it was harder to hear him.
And the mics weren't, everywhere.
Well, however, if I may come to the defense of the perennial Cena hater of the group, JoshAgeddon was kind of pointing all of these things out from like 2014 on as problems, and everybody told him to just shut the fuck up, but now here we are in 2023, and they're mic'd up louder, and now it's an issue. And I'm not saying you specifically, Skyler, but there are a number of detractors and haters of JoshAgeddon and TAW Gaming. Go like, share, and subscribe right now. Play your outro for 5 seconds.
I put it in for 6.
So in any case, I'm just saying that this must feel good for you, JoshAgeddon, to hear all of these things now as a long-form vindication.
I'll say this. I'm not a monster. Y'all just can't see curbs. Yeah,
so
boo
Jimmy
boo
Uso
boo.
in this matchup. He was
And that's the thing, though, is that, like, as bad as John Cena was in this match, I thought Jimmy Uso was worse.
See, I actually have to disagree with you there, Skyler. I thought that he had a lot more personality in this match than he's shown in a while in the ring. I mean, maybe he was compensating for the fact that Solo had no expression, which is kind of his deal. And it was nice remembering what John Cena and Umango was like 16 years later.
Yeah.
With those two, but that was kind of fulfilling.
Jimmy can throw a better
Jimmy
super kick than
Uso's
Jay.
Super kicks suck, his backslide tag suck, his thigh slaps suck.
Disagree on all of that. I literally, while you were saying that, said his super kick is better than Jay's.
I think they are both equally at fault for all of the things you mentioned, Sky. That's just an Usoism, unfortunately. It's
the Usos and the Young Bucks wrestling for the worst super kick in wrestling.
And I will say this though, because I think even still, now that I'm remembering this back, I do think that I liked this better than the opening tag, only because there was only one real comeback. I thought it was structured better to highlight LA Knight. Even though Cena was insufferable, the guy who was getting the attention was LA Knight. Even though I did think it was weird that John Cena used an an attitude adjustment as a hope spot.
I liked the way he set out with it, because he hasn't done that kind of attitude adjustment in a while.
But But I didn't really have much to say about it because I was enjoying it, what LA Knight did, and that Shelton Benjamin jump up to the top rope.
Yes, that was it. That was great. When they finally got the hot tag, the crowd went nuts.
Yeah, and
also those punches that he was doing, the yeah.
LA Knight does fusion with Finn Balor. Yeah, boo. Yeah, boo. Anyway.
LA boo. Well, in any case, and then the finish with the blunt force trauma and LA Knight getting the pin, it was just...
And the worst pose that John Cena did that was so cartoonish.
Well, that may be. It may be. But the fact is, this match was meant to highlight LA Knight, and I think they did it. And I think for what the purpose this served, I thought this match was my favorite of the night. It was just a little less involved than the opening match, but that's the way that I like it. You know, I like it being a little simpler, and that's just my way of handling it. But they were both... These two matches were the matches to watch on this show if you're going to watch them.
Yeah. Again, these two are how you do tag team matches, unlike another company that we like to pretend doesn't exist.
Yeah, and none of... Wow, Skyler, you are right. There's zero bona fide defined tag teams on this card. Literally none. Because you don't have the Usos, you have Jimmy and Solo against John Cena and LA Knight. You have Cody Rhodes and Jay versus Finn and Damian, which I guess you could group in with Judgment Day, I guess.
Kind of.
But, like,
I'll give you a half point for that.
Yeah, and then there's Curly and half of the LWO, which is it a tag team? Is it just a group of...
It's not a tag team because Rey Mysterio is the United States champion.
It's not a tag team. Rey Mysterio is the only person that actually matters at all, is worth a shit in that group.
You could count the Street Profits, I guess, but okay. So one normal, regular tag team.
And they suck.
With 3 tag team matches.
Yeah, and they're the worst. And that tag team is the worst.
They're so bad.
This is, yeah. But
again, still, like we have bitched about the women's division. We will bitch about the tag team division today. It sucks, and Triple H has a lot of work to do if he's going to make that division worth a damn.
True.
Yeah. And so then we get to our main event.
Alrighty.
Hold on. Can we stop for a second?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
Thank you. They did imply, of course, with this stuff now that Roman Reigns will be back on television next SmackDown, and he's not happy about what's happened while he's been gone.
He can't breathe for the first time.
And here's my question. Do they do LA Knight versus Roman Reigns?
Probably at the Rumble.
Or Saudi Arabia?
I've heard rumblings that it might be AJ and Roman at Saudi.
But that makes no sense.
But I wouldn't use...
Run out of opponents.
They might do LA Knight at Saudi. I personally, I would wait on that shit till the Rumble.
Just give the Saudi Arabians a world record-changing tag world champion match and have LA Knight win there.
Dude, that would be the most ridiculous thing.
Could you...
But they would do it.
Imagine.
But I still think Brock Lesnar is the one that's going to beat it. I do. Stipulation be damned. I still think it's going to be Brock. I am not convinced that it will be anybody else but Brock Lesnar who beats Roman Reigns.
Fastlane. Roman Reigns.
Because we're here at Fastlane.
Yeah.
And it's so fast. We're moving by this so fast, even though this match was not. It was so not fast. It was so slow. It's Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I will accept the lack of promo for everyone who isn't on Peacock Premium Plus Penisberg. But I will not accept that for the main event. That's what you're you're selling the show on, you should make sure everybody sees why the main event's important.
Yeah.
You're trying to establish this world title as an important world title. Save the penny pinching for the earlier matches.
Agreed.
Except this was the 4th most important match on the show.
So it's your main event.
Then don't put it on last.
You don't put it on last. You know, which you would say something in and of itself, which further adds to the conundrum of, is this even a world title to begin with? And
I mean, Declan McMahon's Hoosier belt looked better than this.
I love the design of this world title. What are you talking about?
By the way, that was just me referencing the fact that one of Shane McMahon's actual kids was in the crowd with a Hoosier belt. And I'm looking at this kid, I'm like, oh my god, that's 20-year-old Vince McMahon.
He's got a Yahoozer belt.
Thank God nobody asked him to leapfrog.
Yeah.
Otherwise, his old man would be quite upset. And,
by the way, I would like to apologize to Corey Graves about asking what the fuck he got out of Seth Rollins' closet, because these two men...
Seth Rollins, I could have sworn... I would ask what Seth was wearing, but I do remember throwing out that couch last week.
That wasn't a couch. That was window curtains.
Well, I mean, I threw out basically 2/3 of the living room.
He literally came out dressed as Bed Bath & Beyond.
Meanwhile, you got Shinsuke Nakamura dressing up as the window from Daiso.
You know what? I would love JoshAgeddon if Seth Rollins came out dressed as Bed Bath & Beyond, because the store stock-wise is being repurposed, and the BBBY stock is like this big thing that everybody thinks is going to explode like GameStop did. So if Seth Rollins came out and dressed up as Bed Bath & Beyond in support of a dead stock going up, I would respect him 8 times more than just, all right, he's wearing grandma's curtains.
If Bed Bath & Beyond sponsors Survivor Series, I'm deleting my YouTube channel.
No, if anything, you're going for a payment ad.
No, I quit. I will quit.
TAW Gaming, sponsored by Bed Bath & Beyond and Seth Rollins.
Okay, I'll take half of that. I'll take the Seth Rollins.
Well,
unless they're a package deal.
Before we get into this matchup and what we have to say about it, I'm just going to say this. If they had given us anime villain Shinsuke Nakamura in 2014 and 2015 when he debuted, instead of I'm angry at AJ Styles' nuts, Shinsuke Nakamura, you would have been able to draw money with this dude.
Agreed.
But you did it way too late, and the fans did not care, because you did it way too late. And I felt for Shinsuke Nakamura in this match, because this could have been a money-drawing feud, but sometimes it's too little too late, and this was the evidence right here tonight.
Are you saying he's been hindered?
That's not the only reason why. But yes.
And that was our first pay-per-view review. You mentioned that in the group chat.
Yeah, when Nakamura lost to Jinder Mahal for like no reason.
Off of a botched Cobra Clutch slam.
Yes. It was a colossal failure.
Yes.
So, YABOOOO your puns.
Yeah, yay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But I have something I need to admit right now.
What's that?
Joshua, what's the tagline of your podcast?
So bad it made me tap out.
That's what I did. I didn't finish this match. I actually was watching it, and halfway through, I said, you know what? I can't.
Wow. I actually
I'll let you guys guess. As we go through the match, I'll let you guys guess when I tapped out.
Not gonna lie, I liked this match, although I had the opposite problem that I had with the women's triple threat, where I liked the first half, and then the second half was much less good. The first half of this was just nothing, but the second half really picked up, and by the end, even though the finish kind of came out of nowhere, I enjoyed the second half of this match, and the first half was like severe growing pains.
I just felt that it suffered from the same problem that the tag match did. Formulaic. I have seen this last man standing match before with insert wrestlers here.
We just saw the payback with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus the Judgment Day.
Yeah, this was basically a repeat of that match, except with less people.
And we got 90 seconds in before we got a kendo stick, and I kind of knew where this was headed, so I can't tell you that I was super actively involved. I was watching the match, but I wrote down I'd be writing down more, but these matches bore me lately. Which is not a good thing when these matches are supposed to be the matches that have the gravitas to them. You know, that I'm more bored for weapons than I am for just two people just grappling and going at it. You know, and that just speaks to my sensibilities as well. But they did the kick to the floor, which wasn't a floor because you heard, like, all of the air underneath the And then Shinsuke Nakamura does this animatronic mouth motion that the camera catches up. That was the weirdest thing. And I'm going to guess it was the weak-ass chair shots to the back that did it for you, Sky.
Or when Seth fell off and landed on a crash pad and bounced.
Were we too far?
Here's the thing. I stopped when the fucking trash can was put on Seth Rollins, and then they used the kendo stick.
Oh, that was early.
And then I heard about the crash pad thing, so I had to go back and watch the crash pad thing, and I saw that, and I'm just like, oh.
That they could have just as easily have just put, I don't know, like miscellaneous like tables there or something that's not a bouncy castle.
And the funny part is that, like, people were saying, like, see, AEW doesn't do this. And I'm just like, yes, they fucking do. They all do.
Yeah, they do. They so do.
I will give the credit to WWE. At least they tried to hide it from 85% of the crowd. And they tried to do their best to get it so that it wouldn't appear on camera.
Yeah.
But there's that video going around that is shot from an angle that clearly shows the crash pad, and like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. But again, the second that trash can went over Seth Rollins and Nakamura started doing the baseball shit, I'm just like, okay, so this is what it's gonna be.
And it was.
I do think that
nunchucks came in, and I'm just like, oh, great, nunchucks.
I liked the nunchucks, not gonna lie.
I would have liked it if we had actually seen Nakamura ever use nunchucks before this.
I would have liked it earlier in the match and without any of the kendo sticks. Ever.
I would like it if they would...
Like, everybody uses kendo sticks. Why not just have Nakamura only use the nunchucks?
Yeah, you know what would have been cool if Nakamura had brought, like, if we're just throwing shit underneath the ring and we're just pre-planning for all these things, which is another story in and of itself, why not have Nakamura just bring out a whole mess of his own weapons, things you've never seen before?
Yeah, that's what Becky Lynch did in her match with Tiffany Stratton, and that match was better than this one.
Yeah, because on NXT they actually kind of book with logic, despite the fact that Shawn Michaels is the booker.
Well, maybe we all should just be on 34 somas a night, and maybe we'll learn how to book.
Jeez.
Maybe we just have to fuck Sonny.
Something. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe we needed some sort of homosexual relationship with our boss.
We need to pose for Playgirl.
Yeah. Well, I'm already working on that.
And then we gotta be a born-again Christian.
I'm already there.
I'm already born. I was born once. That's fine. I'm good. I don't need it a second time. Once was plenty. I already work in a church, so, like, I've already got the in. Don't even... Let's look... And in any case, and I did get word from the big man upstairs. He actually no-showed that match with Shawn Michaels. But that's a story for another time. We'll get into that shoot interview at some point.
But yeah, CrossFit Jesus is not doing it for me. Listen, Sean, I know that you've been on this campaign to say that Seth Rollins has had a great year. I'm not going to deny that he had some good matches with Finn Balor and Logan Paul earlier in the year. You cannot convince me that this was a good match.
This wasn't his best match, but it's not. I don't think that's necessarily Seth's fault. I think that's just formatting fault. It's not their fault that the last man standing match looks the same with every single wrestler that's in it.
Also, you mentioned the trash can spot earlier. They've got to stop putting the trash can over someone's head and just hitting the trash can. It's not hurting the person inside. It's dumb.
And that's kind of the other problem, is that none of the spots are original anymore. Every match has the exact same spots.
Yeah.
And, Kevin Nash was shitting on LA Knight because he says there's nothing original there. But look at this match and look at the last man standing match from the last 8 or 9 years and tell me what is really different.
Sean.
If you played them all simultaneously and basically the time frames are almost the exact same on them, and this is what you get. This is what you get.
I have a question, Sean and Skyler. What was different between this match and Tribal Combat at SummerSlam? I knew that was coming. This was basically the same match, except not as long. And the referee was doing a different job.
Yeah, again, that's the thing. WWE has really lost that spontaneity. Where that would make a last man standing match feel important, and it just doesn't, because we've seen it all. We've seen it all, and this is what I said before when we were talking about Triple H taking over against Vince after the initial thing back in last year, and I said specifically, unless Triple H is bold enough to make a daring structural formatting changes, we're not going to see anything holistically different from WWE that we're really after. And while this is better WWE format, it's still WWE format, and they're still hitting the same wall they've been hitting. It's just not as offensive because they don't have Vince's horse shit thrown into it.
Yeah. But we've been dumping on this match a lot. I will say there were a lot of things I liked. Like, even though apparently only Asian wrestlers can do mist spots, the blood mist pushing him off the ladder through the table, for a split second, I thought that might have been it. And the Kinshasa through the table, I thought that could have been it, but I loved the way that Seth got out of it by sliding his legs out of the ring and planting them so he didn't actually have to stand up. I liked that.
Yeah.
And that's when the match started getting really good. The crowd started getting into it.
Yep.
And then he wins with a Falcon Arrow through a table. And I was like, okay, I guess the show's over now.
Well, and the double knees to the table is kind of a dumb spot, too. I just kind of want to throw that.
I actually thought that spot was pretty sick. I liked that spot.
It would have been nicer if it had landed better.
You could kind of tell that he didn't land on knees through it. He landed like, his shin scales through it.
Yeah. And he landed. And that's what bothered me. I'm like, oh, God. That's a good way to tear an ACL. But thankfully he didn't.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying the match was bad. I'm just saying the match is what these matches always are.
Yeah, there was nothing that would, blow your hair back in this match. Maybe a spot or two where, Shinsuke might win, and you had a little bit of doubt, but it was very fleeting.
I mean, if it was John Cena, you'd have no hair to blow back at all.
True. Or Paul Heyman.
Or me, actually. But it was,
I'm joining you there with the balding because my hair has been going away, too, recently.
It's all good because it's taking the fast lane out of here. But let's get to the ratings. Speaking of taking the fast lane out of here, let's start with Skyler. What do you give Fastlane 2023, also known as Payback 2?
Well, I'm probably not going to give it a very high score. I actually think of the three of us, I'm going to give the lowest score.
Probably.
This is the hard part. That usually with these WWE pay-per-views, there's at least one or two matches I will say, you know what? If I'm in the mood, I'm going to go back and watch it. I had none of that for any of these matches. The problems with this company's roster are bare to see. The women's division sucks. The tag team division sucks. The fact that there's no singles heel besides Gunther and maybe Austin Theory that you can walk on. That doesn't count. Yeah, but Gunther doesn't wrestle with them that much. He's a singles guy on his own.
Yeah, but he's still got cronies. That's
They're-
still a group.
They're slow burning Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, but Drew McIntyre is boring as shit.
I fundamentally disagree.
Just because you like Big Daddy Drew's sword doesn't mean that it's going to be interesting.
I think he's very interesting, but continue.
I fundamentally wish that they would do more interesting things with Drew McIntyre. I don't think he's doing interesting things. He's doing slow burning. I'm angry, kind of angry Scott, but not really angry Scott. I'm just Scott.
I
I want Drew to go back to being Drew and stop being Scott.
I like the heel turn he's doing right now. I find it very interesting, but agree to disagree.
I'm just glad that he's not going to be in a tag team called McRiddle.
That is true. We can all agree on that.
Yeah. I do want pancakes now, though, for some reason.
Maybe you'll get some Riddle OG weed while you're at it.
Probably not. Because I'm not going to have whatever he's having.
Just avoid any and all airports.
No, and scooters. Go ahead,
Well,
Scott.
just specifically JFK, which is agreed because JFK is a terrible airport. Beside the point, this show to me just was there. It was just a filler. But Payback was an entertaining filler. To me, this is just bleh. And it doesn't help that, again, the roster has good people on it. Like, WWE has a good roster, but they need to fire, like, a third of the talent of the bad roster before I can actually start to say I'm compelled to watch Monday Night Raw and SmackDown every week. Because right now I'm not compelled because, like, they advertised that Kobe Kingston versus Eric Vikings rules match and a Raquel Rodriguez Nia Jax match.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled. Can't wait.
So with that in mind, I'm giving this show a 5. And I don't feel good about giving it a 5. This is probably the lowest score I've given to a WrestleMania to a show in a while. But, like, I can't give myself up to watch any of this back.
Is this the lowest score since Triple H took over, Sky? It might be.
It's one of them. I remember that last year we were not very fond of, like, Extreme Rules.
21, that is. Or 22, I'm sorry.
22 or 23 or whatever. I mean, we have to go back and watch. I also remember not really liking some of the other shows earlier, like, on, but it is what it is.
Well, that was a pretty, so we've got a 5. So the bar has been set. Where are you going to take it, JoshAgeddon?
I really liked this show. Okay, maybe not really liked. I liked this show. I still maintain WWE has not had a bad pay-per-view all year. This is probably the weakest pay-per-view they've had thus far this year. But I very much enjoyed both of the tag team matches. That 6-man tag team match, just fuck off. The triple threat was fine, and the main event was fine. It was a very fillery pay-per-view. It was Payback 2, just not as good as the original. But I thought it was a solid way to spend 3 hours. I mean, hey, it was not a long show. It was only 5 matches. I thought it was fine. Probably the weakest effort of the year so far, but it's fucking Fastlane. You never expect a lot from a show called Fastlane. There's nothing on this show I would like say, oh, you gotta go watch this. The 2 tag team matches were good though, but I'm giving this show a 6 out of 10.
Well, here I am in the creamy middle.
As always.
As always. The white filling that is gonna give you diabetes. That's me. To me, this was a weaker show, but there was nothing offensively bad except for Pizza Hut. That was really Pizza Hut and WWE just do not mix. It gives you the sour belches. Both times it's happened, I have not liked the way that Pizza Hut has shoehorned itself into my wrestling. And that's the only major problem I have with this. The 6 minutes, but nothing was like Mousetrap WrestleMania 38 bad. Nothing was Finn Balor having a quote-unquote broken turnbuckle and flopping around like a fish. There was nothing offensive on this show. It was just a show. And it was fine. It was a fine show. It was a fine show, but it was fine.
It was like imagine if like Raw or SmackDown was just a pay-per-view for no reason one week. That was this.
This kind of felt like one of those Raw Super Showdowns that they did every so often in like 2009 and 10.
Yeah.
Where they just melded Raw and SmackDown and aired it on a random Tuesday.
You forgot about ECW.
Yeah, it's like this was more of a Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
Than it really was like a major show. And that's fine. You gotta have pay-per-views like this from time to time. I think that our expectations have changed for WWE, which is good. Definitely, which is good, because I think the fact that this is on the lower register, not because it was bad, but because it just wasn't eventful, that is a shift.
Yeah, if this is as bad as it gets, then that's a good thing.
That's not the worst thing you could ask for. I'd like a little more excitement and a little more zip. I think the whole show is kind of overall safe, which they can be because there's no threat to them whatsoever. I will repeat that again. There is no threat to WWE whatsoever.
There really is not.
And the only threat to WWE that they have is going to be them taking the excitement out of the shows to the point where no one wants to watch them. They were dangerously close to that a couple of years ago when the shows were so bad and the shows were lacking of anything exciting or interesting. They have a roster that's talented. They have a group of people that know what they're doing, and they have a show that has the potential to be, at the very least, a good wrestling show every single time. They're not there yet, but they're getting there. It's just that, like, I would like these B shows to be like Payback or to be like Money in the Bank, to have stuff that's happening on them that is keeping me entertained while I'm watching the show and not making me want to turn it off or stop watching.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that happened on this show was the tag team titles changed hands, and
which happened at Payback, too.
Yeah.
But again, it's one thing where, like, when I have to actually stop watching a match, that's when it starts becoming a problem. Like, I'm good that Rollins beat Nakamura again. I hope they have a new contender for him for the next show, wherever it is.
Well, and this, I do feel for Shinsuke, but this to me felt like this was it.
Yeah.
This felt like when Cesaro got choked out to Roman Reigns.
Except that match was fucking awesome. That's one little difference.
That match was terrific.
Yeah.
But it's the same implication of like, okay, this is the one time that Cesaro's going to main event. Hope you enjoyed it.
And now we have no idea where he is, and Sheamus continues his search to this very day.
Yep.
In a monster truck looking for him.
A monster truck in the ocean.
Yeah. But symbolically speaking, this did kind of feel like, okay, listen, Shinsuke, like, we love you. Thank you for what you've done, but, like, this is probably it. Like, the world title ain't gonna happen, buddy. It's like, it's not. It's really not. And I think...
Enjoy these two main events because you're not getting anything else while we're in charge.
Well, and the problem is that this is the Shinsuke Nakamura that they should have gotten 5-6 years ago, but it's way too late, and nobody can possibly care anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, if this was what they were introduced to when he first arrived,
or when he first turned heel.
Yeah, when he...
People would have eaten that up.
After he turned heel on AJ, they should have done this.
Yeah.
And
Not...
they could have kept the ball-shotting thing, but just make him a Japanese anime villain and have him win the big one.
You can have that one ball shot at WrestleMania 34 and then leave his fucking nuts alone.
Yeah. Well, he should have had the ball shot in the match, had Shinsuke win the belt at Mania by turning heel. Then have this whole thing with AJ, so AJ doesn't have to get caught up with the whole Wendy deal with Joe. And
yeah.
What was that year?
And
What was that year?
funny you mentioned that because Daniel Bryan did exactly that on that SmackDown, and he won the world title from AJ by kicking him in the balls and then knee to the face and then win. So Shinsuke, aim for the balls during the match, and then Shinsuke did that to Jeff for the U.S. title.
Which he did.
Yeah, and there we are, and that basically sums up the issue.
Yeah.
Because the fact that Shinsuke Nakamura was beating Jeff Hardy for the United States title after being in 3 major matches for the world title, losing all of them, one of them in a double ball shot, last man standing disc ball.
Oh my god. That backlash was so bad.
And thankfully, we don't have to put up with that kind of bad show anymore.
Yeah, that is true.
Right? But 5.5 is what I'm giving this. If I didn't give the number already, I said I was right in the middle, so that I thought that kind of gave it away.
Yeah, you sure did.
But
Give it away now.
Yeah, but what you're not what I don't give away is my booty. And before this joke is already, we've already killed the joke. It's a good one, folks. The joke is dead. The show is dead. Thank you for coming.
Sean hates Finn Balor again.
That's right. Well, I don't know. That still might be fun for next time. But thank you both, gentlemen, for existing.
You're welcome.
Thank my parents.
Yeah, one of them went YABOOOO into the other.
Yeah, thank you, Skyler's parents, and we'll see y'all next time, right after this.
Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. See you guys later. Good night, everybody.